Hello friends, Will here. Welcome to the Skate Oasis and welcome to a very special video. This is going to be the first in a series of, I believe, 3 videos where I am going to be going over the conception, design process, and full construction of my new garage mini ramp. This is something that I've been wanting to do ever since I got back into skating. It was actually my wife's idea first, so love you, babe. And I have had ramps in the garage before. They're disassembled and gone now, and it's time to get this project off the ground. So the first half of this video, we're going to be talking about the conception and the design stage of the mini ramp. And in the second half of the video, we're going to talk about materials, and we're going to be doing all the work for phase 1, which is going to be basically framing the quarter pipes and getting everything laid out. So first things first, let's go outside to the garage and take a look at the space. This is the area that the mini ramp is going to occupy. So we have a 2-car garage and only 1 car, and I decided to do it inside because I wanted to be protected from the weather, and I also wanted this to be a literal skate oasis that I have during the long, cold, wet Canadian winter to keep up with my skateboarding. So the ramp is going against the back end of the driveway. I did for a while have my ramp set up going lengthwise here, but there's a few things that impact that. It's much easier and the whole garage feels a lot better laid out with the ramp back here. There's still plenty of room for the car and all of the other equipment here that occupies the space in our garage. The dimensions of the garage are approximately 21 feet in that direction and approximately 24 feet in this direction. So the ramp that I have designed is 18 foot 4 inches long completely. So it fits quite nicely here at the end of the garage. The one downside to going this way is that this is an old garage and an old foundation, and I have a lot of leveling issues here in the back corner and over on that side. So leveling this ramp is going to be incredibly important to me. I'm going to be taking level measurements every step of the way and every, before I do anything else. It's going to be level, 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 get it flat as we can. So this is the space, this is what I'm looking at. And I'm really excited. So I'm not a professional carpenter by any means. The know-how that you need to have for this is actually fairly minimal. You should be comfortable with some carpentry math, and you should be comfortable with using power tools. Speaking of tools, you don't even need to have that many tools. For this project, I'm using an electric drill and screwdriver. I'm using a jigsaw and a circular saw, and I'm using pencils and a measuring tape and a level, but that's about it. I'm gonna be doing this pretty much all by myself as well, so I'm going slow and steady. So why don't we go back inside and we're gonna take a look at the design of the ramp, and I'll talk a little bit about what I'm looking for with this. So the whole idea behind this ramp is that I have a place to skate and progress. So I wanted a ramp that was easy to skate, but I could also progress on. I wanted a ramp that's approachable and not intimidating because I skate in there, I'm going to be skating in there by myself all the time, and I don't want to have to be super duper psyched up to skate it. So what I've gone with is a 2-foot transition height overall, which is a nice height. You can do a lot of tricks on 2 feet, and like I said, it's not intimidating. So I don't have a printer, and it looks really janky if I film my computer screen that has my plans on it. So I'm just gonna show you the image of the plans right here. This is also a good time to mention that I'm going to be linking my plans and giving you my entire tool and material list down below in the description, so check that out if you're curious. So I did model my design for this ramp off of the Keen Ramps 2-foot mini half pipe. Keen is a sick company, and if I had the money, I would just straight up buy a mini ramp from them. However, I'm trying to do this basically with as small a budget as possible by doing the work myself, by doing all of the design stuff and everything. So the transition radius is a 6-foot or 72-inch transition radius. Keen Ramps uses this for all of their half pipe sizes until they get over 3 feet high, and then they mellow it out to a 7-foot transition radius. 6 foot is really good for a small ramp like this, a 2-foot ramp. If I went any mellower, then I wouldn't really have a lot of rock, like pivoting room stall tricks or anything like that. It would just be a little too mellow. And I don't want to go any steeper than 6 because I do want it to be, like I said, non-intimidating and easy to learn on and easy to skate just in general. Now, one of the most difficult things involved with building a ramp is measuring and cutting the transition properly. So I'm going to show you my plan for this. So my apologies for being janky, but these are the hand sketch plans of the transition that I've worked out here. And this is exactly how I'm going to cut it out in the garage, which I'll show you what I'm doing as well. So these 2 boxes represent our framing sheets for the transition frames, which is 3/4 inch plywood, 4 feet by 8 feet. Now setting the ply sheets up in this configuration allows us to create a pivot point for the transition radius and draw and then cut a perfect curve. And the way we're going to do this is like so. I'm going to take a stud that is over 6 feet long, and I'm going to attach a pencil or a pen to the end, and then 6 feet up, we're going to drill a hole and screw it into this location that I've already worked out in my second sheet. Now what that's going to give me is basically a 6-foot swinging arm, and I'm just going to put a pencil in the end here, and it's going to draw that curve. I know exactly where it stops because I know exactly how high my ramp is going to be, and I know where to start because I know exactly how long my quarter pipe piece is going to be. Let's get our gear and let's go into the garage and let's start measuring some stuff out. So our first step here is to reproduce, and I'm going to circle them, some of the location points on our 3/4 inch piece of plywood, So I need to locate the end of the deck, for which I have dimensions already, the start of our cut, and then the top of the flat section, for which I already have dimensions. So I'm going to take my trusty tape measure, and I'm going to mark those spots out. Chalk line, super useful. So now that we've got those lines and points drawn in, we are going to put in the pivot point on this piece of plywood. So we're gonna measure up 2 foot 3.5 inches and over 1 foot 6, and we'll be perfect. So I just realized that I forgot to film it, but what I've done here is I've drilled a hole here for my pen, right there in the middle, and lined it up with my start point. And at the other side, I measured 6 feet. I drilled a screw in there, so I have this freely pivoting arm now. And I quite simply just put my pen in the hole, and as you can see, I just dragged it up and down, and now I have that transition line cut. And the first thing I'm worried about is actually over. The last time I built something like this, I completely screwed up just drawing the transition, and it threw off the whole project. So this looks really good. And the nice thing is, we only have to do this once, because after we cut out this frame, we're just gonna trace it onto the other side of that sheet and then copy it onto the second sheet. So one measurement gets us 4 frames. So this is the first of the 4 frames in place, giving you a really good idea of the scale of this thing. I kept thinking that 2 feet's gonna be really small. It's gonna be really small. And it doesn't feel that small with that sitting in place, and now that I can see everything. Next steps are to take this piece, lay it on the opposite side of this sheet of ply, trace it, cut it, rinse and repeat with that one until we have 4 frames. Hey everybody, we're back, day 2. I did some more work last night, but the lighting in here gets really bad once the sun goes down, and I wanted to wait until the evening so it cooled off a little bit so it wasn't like working in a sauna in here. and I got one of the quarter pipes framed up. Let's take a look. So this is going to be the first of the 2 framed quarter pipes. All I've done is attached a couple of studs here, one here at the base, another one here below where the coping's gonna be, and I've got it covered with studs right now, but one on the back and then one on the bottom. I even added a couple of extra support lines here so that I could support them while they were half screwed in, and up top I've just got a bunch of the studs for the other one. I have also decided to expand the flat bottom a little bit. My original drawings were sketched up at 5'4", and that was to leave just a little bit of room on that side and also to save on materials a little bit. However, I think the flat bottom is going to be a little bit too short that way, so I'm going to add 2 feet onto it. So I've got about 7'4" of pure flat bottom, and then the second quarter pipe is going to be right up against that wall. Now I'm also using these rubber mats to get the ramp up off the ground, and then I'm putting it on shoring here, which is just 2x lumber, once again to keep it up off the ground a little bit. The garage actually is really low on that side, so I don't want any water to pool under here. So the rubber does 2 things. One, it will keep the melting snow and water from seeping into that side of the garage under the ramp, and the shoring just keeps it raised up a little bit, so even if there is a little bit of water or moisture in there, which is pretty much unavoidable, the ramp will not get wet because it'll be lifted up. The ramp is also going to sit pretty much flush with this wall. I'm probably gonna leave 5 or 6 inches in there, but I've got it pulled pretty far out right now because obviously I still need to access this side to do all the screwing here. I am hyper stoked on this. I'm starting to actually get a really great visualization of what it's gonna look like in here, and I think it's gonna be great. It's gonna look incredible, right up against the back wall. The garage doors are gonna open up, and it's gonna be like being hit with a shiny, beautiful ray of dopamine-infusing sunshine. It's gonna be my little, literal skate oasis in the garage. So thank you all very much for joining me on the journey so far. I am gonna put the camera down, and we are gonna get to framing up the second quarter pipe. Okay, so what I've done here is I've set up the 2 quarter pipe frames, kind of braced in between these bricks just to hold them up straight. And I'm gonna show you what I'm doing here with the framing. So back in behind, this is a pure 8-foot stud that goes up against the frame, and that's gonna keep the ramp from scratching up against the actual wall. And inside here, this is our 7'10" and 1/2 inch common stud size for the quarter pipe. Same with that one right there. So I've got these in place. So now I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna pop 2 screws into each end, and then we're gonna put one across the top, and then another one at the first stud spacing below the coping on the transition, and then we are going to screw this stud into the rear one so that it is also attached to the ramp. So I'm assembling them, as you can see, not in what's gonna be their final position, and there's a few reasons for that. The main reason is just that while you're building them, you have to have access to both sides because there's all kinds of work going on. And the second thing is that since my foundation is not level in here, I'm gonna have to do a lot of leveling along the way. So I'm gonna frame the quarter pipes first, and then down the line, we're gonna lay down all the rubber mats and all the 2x4, 2x6 shoring, and then we're gonna level everything. So for now, and I also need access to this part of the garage for the car right now. So we're not gonna be doing that yet. That's more of a phase 2, maybe phase 3 situation. So today what I'm hoping to do, because I have a lot of stuff to do later today, is frame this one out to the same level as that one, and just dream and daydream about it. I have the second quarter pipe framed in the same 4 spots as the other one. I've just measured it all. It's nice and square, so I'm feeling good. So that's gonna be the end of basically this phase of the mini ramp, and also the end of today's video. If you have any questions whatsoever about anything involved with what I'm doing here, please leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you, and I'd love to share any insight that I can. Like I said, I'm not a pro carpenter. I built a few ramps in the past, but I'll share whatever I know with any of you. So thank you all very much for watching. I'm coming back with at least 2 more videos, probably even 3 videos in this mini ramp building series. And that is going to be my prime, like my main focus for the rest of the summer is getting this ramp done. So once again, thank you very much for watching me. You've all, once again, thank you very much for watching this video. You guys are incredible. You've been amazing. I've been Will. If you like what you've seen, you can click over here to subscribe to the channel, and you can click over here somewhere to watch another video. So until next time, be true to yourselves, excellent to each other, and I'll shred you later.